In northwest Scotland lies the incredible island of Skye, teeming with incredible wildlife and whose mountainous terrain is dominated none more so than by the Cuillin Mountain range. The Black Cuillin Ridge in particular is a world-famous alpine ridgeline, famed for its extreme exposure, steep scree slopes, rough terrain and knife-edge ridgelines. Drawn by its reputation, I decided to try and summit my first ever munro high up on this ridge. Little did I know, the mountain had other plans. Hey, today you join me from the Isle of Skye. If I'm looking down a lot, it's because the ground is boggy and I don't want my foot to go into loads of water at the start of a hike. And today is a very big hike. We need to climb 947 meters or something because I'm going on my first munro today. It's, here we go, Bruach na Frithe. So we are headed in between those two masses. You see one outline there and the shadow behind. We're going up. At 958 meters, Bruach na Frithe is a munro and summit in the world-famous Black Cuillin Mountain range. The Black Cuillin Ridge was formed 60 million years ago and is all that remains of an eroded magma chamber of a huge volcano. Made mainly of hard gabbro rock and smoother basalt, the ridge was sculpted by glacial activity and weathering into the unique jagged character we see today. It's an absolute playground and magnet for alpinists. But I am not, so I'm just sticking to this first one, which is meant to be okay for the mere hill walkers among us who want to get a bit of that glory at the top, but don't want to go through the fear and worry of a horrific alpine ridge. Bruach na Frithe is considered one of the easiest Cuillin summits to reach, as you don't have to face the scrambles and steep terrain as you do on the other summits. However, the walk is still a 5 to 7 hour day and it crosses extremely rocky and rough terrain and is famously hard to navigate in the mist that frequently rolls in and out. I felt a little apprehensive, but it was a very gentle start, following a clear path alongside a river, gradually taking us higher and closer to the munro. So I've come very prepared today. You can never be too well prepared. And I started with last night. Got a good night's sleep in, didn't I? Very good night's sleep. Got to have my 8 to 9 hours for a long hike, or else all is lost before it's even begun. Also packed a lot of food. I've got 4 sandwiches with cheese, hummus and tomato in them. I've got 4 chunky snack bars. I've got apple. We've got trail mix and oat cakes in Josh's backpack as well, 5 litres of water. So all in all, I think we had just about enough supplies to last us the day. It was when the gradient of the path started to get steeper that the mist started to roll in, and with it, the wind and rain. We donned our waterproofs and trudged on against the direction of the wind, occasionally taking the time to glance behind us and see if a view had cleared, but it would only last a second before being consumed by the white veil again.
Lay across the land, I will show you.
So we've been going for a couple of hours now and it's midday, so I'm getting very hungry. I say to Josh, how much longer do you think we've got to go? And he says, oh, I think we're on the final leg now, as if to say, like, don't stop for lunch now, let's wait till we get up there. Let me just show you what the final leg is. You see that is not just like 15 minutes and then lunch. We've got another hour to go really, I reckon. Too much time to wait for lunch, in my opinion. We judge distance very differently, him and I. We've decided to take the route that carries on up through the boulder field, the black rock, gabbro rock. That's what gives the ridge its name, the Black Cuillin. It's the gabbro rock that gives it that really dark, brooding colour. God, look at that view as well. The mist just rolls in and out. One moment you can't see anything, the next you've got views like that. Little did we know that was the last clear view we were to see that day. The higher into the boulder field we went, the worse the weather became. A thick mist started to descend again, except this time it never lifted. It began whipping up through the mountain bowl and slithering over the tops of the munros, dragging a strong wind with it. The temperature plummeted and it made hiking up the increasingly steep and loose wet scree and rocks a little unnerving at times.
Please don't worry about a thing, as I am here.
Hello. I apologise if the audio is really bad. I think we might be near the top, we're not really sure, but the mist and cloud has come in, and unlike earlier when it was just rolling in and out, it stayed. We can't really see anything. It's really windy, really cold. We're not exactly sure where we are. We think we can very faintly see a ridgeline because the rock is so dark it does still stand out, but we don't know if it's the summit ridgeline or if it's a false summit, and to be honest, with the fog like it is, I don't really want to go up there to find out if it just drops off or not. So we're just gonna kind of wait here for a bit. I don't know if we're gonna be able to make it to the top, to be honest. I don't know. We're just gonna wait here and see. Hey guys, if I look a little bedraggled, is that a word? Seems to fit the mood. It's because I am bedraggled. Very shortly after I was talking to you at the top there, like a large crow flew past and called at us. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it was almost as if it was warning us, because literally like a second later, a massive squall came in and like wiped us out. Absolutely chucked it down, and literally it was in an instant. I was soaked, didn't even have time to put my waterproof trousers on. There'd be no point, I've already soaked through and I have to take my shoes off to get them on. We kind of just hunkered down as best we could, but there was no shelter from it. Yeah, we were soaked through, still super misty, windy and cold at the top. So yeah, we just called it. We're heading back down. Disappointed, but I think it was the right decision for us. We're not necessarily like hardcore summit baggers. Oh, that's no shade to any of you that are, by the way. Really cool if you do that. You definitely could have gone on, but we wouldn't have been able to see anything up there. There would have been no view. We were a bit unsure of where the path was. It was really foggy and I don't want to be slipping off the top of any munros on the Cuillin range today. Soaked through, quite cold and wet. So like for us, there was nothing to kind of inspire us to go on. If you like munro bagging and you really like the summit means something to you, then yeah, or if you have more experience as well in these conditions, you probably could have gone on. But we've just decided to cool it. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
The lower we descended, the better the visibility got, but the mist was soon replaced by a rain that didn't ease up for a whole other hour.
It's pretty wet and cold. I still feel disappointed we couldn't make it to the summit. We literally got to like about 900 meters. We've done all the hard work, but it was definitely the right call. It's been like this like ever since we started descending, so I am pretty cold and wet by now, and I like the idea of being back in a nice warm home. Ooh. You know, like 6 years ago or something, I didn't understand people who chose to do their holidays doing stuff like this. And now here I am. I'm one of the people, and I'm so proud to be part of the clan. You guys must be the people too. I think we're cool people, and despite being cold and wet, I'm actually still having a really good time. Changed my mind. I was having a good time. I'm no longer having a good time. My feet are soaked. I hate having wet feet. It is like my one thing that I can't hack is wet feet, and they are soaked. I'm scorching. I feel like there's just a bowl of water in there.
I'm not gonna lie, for a while I felt pretty moody and sorry for myself. We didn't manage to summit, and if I didn't make it clear enough, I hate wet feet. Both Josh and my shoes were Gore-Tex, so I think it was the lack of waterproof trousers causing water to run down into our boots that did it. However, Skye didn't let me stay in a funk for long. In what I'm going to take as an apology and farewell gift from the island, it brightened up for the last half hour and gave us stunning mountain views. The mist clung to the tops and flocks of birds appeared like chains of beads in the sky, and suddenly everything was okay again. Well folks, despite the fog and the wet and the cold and my feet being absolutely soaking, it's like walking in a bog right now, I would still recommend doing that walk to you. Just pick a good weather day. We did check the weather, it wasn't meant to be like this, but it's Skye, I guess. Skye does as Skye does. But yeah, if you're trying to get your foot into the Cuillin Mountain range where you don't want to do some of those sharper ridges and hit a munro, then that's such a good one to do. I would definitely like to come back and actually make it. That would be really good. It's a long walk, but apart from that, it's not technical, so if you have the fitness, it's a great one to be able to do. We started the walk in a popular lay-by just a bit further up the road from the Sleegerchan Hotel. The first kilometres followed the river and gained elevation very gently, slowly taking you closer towards the mountains. About 4 kilometres in, you take a left turn at a fork in the path, crossing the river and starting a much steeper ascent into the bowl in the middle of the mountain range. The final ascent heads straight up through a steep boulder field, taking you up onto the ridge that you then walk along to reach the summit. All in all, it's about 14k with 900 metres elevation gain over 5 hours.
But if any of you have actually been up on the Cuillin Ridge or actually completed that one, or indeed had any stories where you've had to bail on doing a munro or something on that ridge, let me know, just make me feel better. I'd be really interested. But otherwise, I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I need to wring out these socks.
Hello, Editor Chloe here. I had planned to end the video here, only record that for Isle of Skye. However, there is just one more thing I wanted to share with you in the end, because it was an absolutely magical experience and I just knew I had to capture it to share it with you too. So on our very last night in Skye, we headed down into Portree and we went down to the port and we saw that they had wildlife safari tours going out on a boat. Now, I don't know why I hadn't clocked and thought this would be a great thing to do, because I am obsessed with nature and animals, and Isle of Skye is famous for its incredible wildlife, so I don't know why this wasn't on my to-do list from the start. Anyway, we saw the sign for the boat tours. We were planning to leave first thing the next day, but I said to Josh, I think we've got to do it. It was only £30 for 2 hours to go out around the bay on a wildlife boat safari tour. So we booked it. And I'm so glad we did. It was magical. I'll just show you. That morning when I woke up, I was more excited than I've been in a very long time. Like a kid at Christmas kind of level. We said good morning and goodbye to the incredible views out our Airbnb window and headed back along the coastline into Portree, the capital of the Isle of Skye. It's a beautiful town, looking out onto Loch Portree and further beyond that out to sea, the sound of Rasley where our skipper would be taking us. The moment we left port, there were seabirds everywhere. Cormorants sat perched on rocky outcrops and gannets soared about overhead. They have an incredible orange shaded head with a blue outline around their eye and striking black lines.
They really are such a beautiful creature. The further out into the sound we got, with no rocks to perch on, the waters were speckled everywhere with gulls gently swaying on the water's surface. And then something incredible happened. We saw a shape emerge from the water, and then another, and then another, and then wow. It was a pod of common dolphin, or at least a breakaway pod. Common dolphins live in much larger groups than other dolphins like bottlenose, and their superpods can contain over 100 dolphins. They are really easy to identify with their tan or yellowish patch on the side of their body, and they are highly social. This pod travelled alongside us for quite some time, leaping alongside the boat and bow riding at the front.
Yeah, if they're in a social mood, they'll swim underneath the boat for like about an hour. You can't get rid of them. It's a terrible problem to have.
After the dolphins had left, we headed further out into the sound to a spot where a very special animal was known to nest. If we were lucky, our paths would cross. It was the animal I most wanted to see. And suddenly, there it was. The UK's largest bird of prey, the white-tailed sea eagle, and wow are they massive. Taking birds and rabbits, but also famously fish. They fly low over the water, stop to hover for a moment, and then drop to snatch the fish out of the surface with their talons. Seeing the seals dozing lazily on the rocks after was definitely a needed dose of calm after the adrenaline rush. With no natural predators in the area apart from the very occasional killer whale appearance, they lead a very chill life and were wonderful to watch.
So much for watching. I know I didn't quite show you what I hoped to by getting to the top, but hopefully it was still enjoyable adventure anyway, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'd love to have you along for the journey, and yeah, see you next time.
Like about an hour. You can't get rid of them. It's a terrible problem to have.